Hello guys, Hornet MMA 13 here, back with another video, this time for UFC Fight Night, Usman versus Buckley. Really good fight card, and we're going to go move straight on into the first fight on the main card. Alonzo Menifield versus Umar. Now Menifield, he's quite old now, he's like 37 years of age. Really slow at this point. He's got kind of that Michael Chandler style where he likes to use his explosivity to close the range. He can't do that as well now. He's got little T-Rex arms, so he's not able to really have the speed anymore to cause trouble or catch you by surprise closing that distance. So it's going to be really tough for him to win this fight. I think the way he's fighting against someone who's longer, got that long reach of like 82 inches, it's going to be hard to close the gap. And also a really good grappler. Menifield isn't really known for being a good grappler. He can wrestle, but his grappling's not very good. His defensive wrestling's terrible. He's got no ability to stop the takedowns. He tends to just go for like a guillotine, or he tends to just sometimes just go over and fall down like Darren Till. But he's going to really struggle in this fight. I think he's going to have the wrestling disadvantage. He's going to have the disadvantage in the striking, the speed. I think the only problem that is possibly going to arise for Sai is the fact that he's fighting a veteran who will know how to kind of cheat and rough him up in there, and he could rough him up and get him out, like eke out one of those horrible looking decisions. That's the only thing I can see happening in this fight. Other than that, I think it's a really easy night in the office for Sai. I think he's 27 years of age, a whole decade younger, and he's got good ability to mix things up with his takedowns, and his striking can lead to takedowns, and he can also use his ground and pound. He's got a lot of ground and pound finishes on his record. I just think Menifield's not good, never really was good. I mean, he's past his prime, and I don't even know if he even had a prime, to be honest with you. He's always been pretty dreadful. He's got decent wins on his record in the past, but he's not beaten anyone good in a long time. And I just think, when you're fighting people who are really sloppy and they're also losing, ground in speed, it's just going to be really hard to do anything, because if you've not got that athleticism, then and you're also not a clean striker, you're not going to be able to even win on points unless you're just clinching and dirty and roughing it up. So he's going to get beat here, I think. I think Sai is a good prospect in the division. He's also long and he's got range, and he's also really good at getting people's back, which you don't get a lot of at the light heavyweight division. So I'm going to go with Sai here. I think he's going to probably spend a lot of time on the back, switching to mount, and I think he'll get a lot of shots down on ground and pound, and I think he'll really put a hurt and a beating on to Menifield. I can see it going to decision because Sai isn't powerful and he doesn't really finish people unless it comes by a sub. And I think Menifield's just got that really weird neck and wide body where you just can't find it. So he's not been subbed many times in his career, and I don't see him getting finished, but I think he'll get beaten up with ground and pound. Moving on, fight number 2 on the main card, Cody Brundage versus Abdul Mansour Malik. Now, Malik, he's he's all round decent. He's not got really any X factor. He's pretty good everywhere. He's fighting Cody Brundage, who's pretty dreadful everywhere. Malik is quite good at like landing his shots from kicks to jabs, and then he'll land an uppercut in the clinch as well, because he's got that really rangy orangutan arms. So he's going to really struggle to get a finish here, I think. But if he does get one, I think it's going to come by maybe a clinch situation with a knee to the body, because obviously Cody Brundage is a human punching bag and he can take a lot of damage. The only people who tend to finish him quick are the really special talents, or people with wrestling like a Bo Nickel, who it turns out is dreadful. But Brundage did win his last fight. He looked good. A bit of an upset there, a bit of a Dominic Reyes style resurgence, but I think he's going to get beat here. I think Mansour's just one of them people good enough everywhere to beat a Cody Brundage pretty handily. I think he will get the finish. I think it'll come, like I said, with a knee maybe in the clinch. I can see him getting the finish in that way, and I think once he hits him with that, he's going to go crumble to the ground, like hold his stomach probably, and then he'll just get Anthony Smith style beaten up, and it'll be quite memeable. He'll probably be in a fetal position, so it'll be hilarious to watch him getting rained down on with 12-6 elbows. So yeah, I think he's going to get beaten up here, which is nothing new for the career of Cody Brundage. Moving on, fight number 3 on the main card is Edmen Shahbazyan versus Andrei Petroski. Now, Shahbazyan's really dreadful on the ground, as everyone knows, and they've matched him up with someone who's really good on the ground. So it's pretty obvious what's happening here. They want Petroski to win. Even though Shahbazyan is still young, people forget that he's only 27 because he's been in the UFC a while. but I think he'll probably get beaten up again. Similar to the last fight, the more tenured veteran's going to get beaten up, I think. And Petrosky's, it's just the worst matchup he could be given, really. Petrosky's really dangerous on the ground. He's got submissions, but he's very, very active on the ground. He ain't one of these people who lays in praise. So I think if he's facing Shabazian, who's lost when he gets to the ground, and he's also got the striking to just kind of keep it relatively neutral. You know, he's got them kicks as well. Shabazian tends to throw a lot of spinning shit. He thinks he's really, really like some kind of like, I don't know, samurai, but he's not. He's just a really low-level UFC fighter, and I think he's going to get beaten up here probably, but this time I can actually see the beating being more of like clinches and probably elbows being thrown, because I've seen that, you know, Petrosky tends to throw a lot of short elbows, and he also has that like, he has that really weird torso where his torso is like longer than his legs, so that makes for quite a good like clinch and elevated, like, you know, where you've got the underhooks, but he's also got that like body shape to kind of switch him over, and he can use that to get him to the ground. I feel like he's going to probably get them sweeps and those trips in the clinch. I can see him really, really manhandling. I can see him absolutely mauling fucking Shabazian, because he's just not good in any kind of grappling range. Even if it's on the feet in the clinch, he's really dreadful. Like, he tends to just like shell up, and he tends to also show his tiredness visibly, so you can see how he's feeling. He's no poker face whatsoever. So I can see him just getting really beat up with elbows, short elbows, maybe a few like foot stomps just to make him more frustrated. So he'll probably just let him trip him at this point, because he's like, I can't be doing with this. I'm 27 and I feel like I'm 47 because I've been beaten up that many times at the apex at that. So yeah, he's probably, you know, the lights could get to him. You know, he's an apex warrior, is Shabazian, so maybe the lights are going to get to him in this fight, who knows. But yeah, I just think he's going to get beaten up here. Both of them are young, even though one of them's been beaten up a lot more times. Petrosky's got really good wrestling, like I've just said, and he's also got really high-level sweeps and trips. Unlike in the last fight, you know, Mansour, he's more of just a straight wrestler. Petrosky can actually do it all. He can use trips and judo throws, so I think he's going to throw him at some point, hip toss, and I think he's going to really hurt Shabazian, and he's probably going to end up taking the neck and choking him out, because, like I said, he's a high-level grappler, not just a wrestler, unlike in the last fight. On to the next fight, Raoni Barcelos versus Cody Garbrandt. Raoni Barcelos, coming off the performance of his career against Peyton Talbot, looked amazing in that fight. Really, really good. Cody Garbrandt has decided to turn into, like, the fucking Vecna, whatever the fuck it's called, off Stranger Things, like with that dodgy fucking dome, fucking slick back hairstyle he's got going. It looks like the Vecna, like, you know, when he's just transitioning from that weird blonde guy in the show and he turns into the little skull thing he becomes. Like, he looks like that kind of in the weird transition that he had in the show, so it's weird. I think that Cody Garbrandt's probably really having some kind of midlife crisis at the moment. Like, he's got the face tattoo now, the weird hairstyle, looking like someone off Sons of Anarchy. He's really going off the rails. I think he's going to get beat here, I'll be honest with you. I think Barcelos has just got that little perfect storm. Yeah, he's Brazilian, sometimes get a late career like fucking boost. I feel like he's got the fucking Brazilian weirdo who just lost against Lerone Murphy. Edson Barboza. I think he's got the Edson Barboza thing going on. You know, like that freak of nature from Brazil. He's kind of one of them who you think, how is he, like, 37 years old? He looks built like an absolute sculpture, Adonis. That's a bit like what it's like with fucking Raoni Barcelos. He's just got that late career surge kind of thing going at the minute. He's really looking better and better. He's definitely on steroids. The new UFC drug testing thing has done him wonders. He kind of looks a year's younger than he did before. Like, not a year, probably that's... He doesn't look younger, but he's fighting like he is. He actually looks older, to be fair. In his last fight, he looked like he was Peyton Talbot's creepy uncle, giving him a scene too, so it's not good. I think he's going to get a win here, though, because I think Garbrandt just doesn't have any kind of hype or any kind of aura to him anymore. He just looks like a guy who, even though he can knock you out with a shot, he doesn't look like he wants to land the shot. He looks like he wants to style on you and start beatboxing and bopping and putting his legs on you for some reason. Like, he likes to throw shots with his feet now. He used to just throw punches. Now he likes to like land shots on you with his head kicks and that. It's a new wrinkle he's added, but it tends to just make him more and more susceptible to getting chinned, because he leaves his chin wide in the air even more than he does when he throws his hooks. So I just think he's going to get beat up here. I think Barcelos will probably at some point get him on the floor and just start hitting him with back of the head shots, which we know are legal. Similar to how he finished well, he didn't finish Talbot, he nearly finished him. If there was a bit more time left in the round, he would have done. I can see him finishing Garbrandt in that kind of scenario, just landing shots to the side of the head and just getting the ref to jump in. So that's my prediction for that one. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick. Rose Namajunas, really at the tail end of her career at this point. It's not that she's extremely old, but she just hasn't looked interesting as of late. Interesting, actually. That's Freudian slip, but it works, because she hasn't looked interesting. She's been boring in most of her performances. She's fighting Miranda Maverick here, who it seems like it's been forever since Miranda Maverick's name's been mentioned at the top of the division. She had a bit of hype about 3 years ago with the Molly McCann thing. They had a bit of a rivalry going, I think people might forget. And I think she's really, took a slow route to the top, and she's now got a co-main event on the Atlanta card, a big card with a big main event. Otherwise, this would have been a main event. Have you seen how shit the main events have been for some of the fight nights? But yeah, Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick. I think Maverick's really going to go for the wrestling heavy style, and I think Rose is going to go for the striking, and I think she's probably going to try and neutralise the wrestling by using a lot of kicks, keeping range, not throwing too many overcommitted shots with her hands, because she could get caught and taken down. I think she's going to go for the rangy, boring, typical Rose style as of late. Well, pretty much the only entertaining fight she's ever had is the one where she knocked out Wei Lee the first time. So, to be honest with you, just Rose Namajunas in general, yeah. It's just going to be a typical Rose Namajunas fight. And she's going to get probably really bad boos, because she's become from like fan favourite those years ago to like kind of like one of the most hated women's fighters, just because she's so boring. And the Pat Barry thing just makes people's stomach turn. And I'm the best. So she's, she sounds like Kayla Harrison, but without the male hormones. So yeah, I think she's going to get beaten up. Is Maverick, to be honest with you. I don't think she's on the level of Rose, even though Rose is boring. I think her legs are going to get chewed up. I think it's going to be one of them fights where it doesn't look like damage is being done, but, the next day, Maverick's going to be feeling it, because there's going to be a lot of hard leg kicks. There's going to be a lot of little teeps, just all the stuff you associate with a boring safety first striker, like the prime Adesanya that fought people like Yoel Romero and Anderson Silva, that kind of thing, except even more boring, because at least in an Adesanya fight you can kind of just laugh at him, and you can laugh at the fact that people like think that he won Robert Whittaker fight. There's always like a talking point, but when it's a fight like this, no one cares. Like, it's just genuinely like there's no danger of a knockout, really. There's no anticipation of something could happen, because both of them are women who don't really get finishes, and especially in the lower women's divisions. So I think it's going to be a really boring fight. I think it's going to be the typical fight we get on these cards, where we're going to get 3 decent fights, and then it's going to be the women's fight who ruins the hype. But I do think Rose is going to get the win. I think it's going to probably be a pretty straightforward kind of fight for her, but I do think there is a chance that Maverick maybe gets a takedown, because she does tend to really have a good gas tank, especially for someone who's got a wrestling heavy style, which can be quite tiring. She does tend to keep going. I wouldn't quite put her as the women's Marab, but she's got like really good gas tank, maybe like the women's Chael Sonnen. She loses most of fights, but people, she still puts a good account of herself. And I think she's probably going to really have a good go at this. I don't think she's going to just shell up and let it be a defeat that happens. I think she's going to really try in it, but she's just not going to have the skills to win. And yeah, my prediction is I just think Rose is going to get a boring decision, which is just what happens every time with her. I think she's going to throw teeps. I think she's going to throw leg kicks. I think she's probably at certain points going to throw body shots, really, but not with the hands, because I think that's too risky, but she's going to throw them with kicks, and she's probably going to even throw a few side kicks. And I can even see her at some point maybe going for like a maybe some kind of like weird grappling exchange where she kind of tries to grab a leg and go for some kind of leg lock, because Rose just does tend to do stuff like that. When she's being wrestled, she'll go for like the most random submission attempt ever. But I just think she's going to get a simple decision where she gets taken down maybe once or twice, but apart from that, it's just Maverick's not able to close the distance. And I think this is the first fight of the night where the wrestler isn't going to win. I think Rose is going to get it. Moving on, finally, to the main event of the evening. Kamaru Usman versus Joaquim Buckley. Joaquim, yeah, Kamaru Usman looked really intense at the fight week all week. He's looked really locked in. Buckley's just looked as chilled as ever. You couldn't have two more different personality types, considering they come from the same community. The very different. One's like laid back, and one of them's like thinks he's a Marvel character, literally. I think that Black Panther cameo went to his head. Kamaru's a good guy there. To be fair, he is quite funny, actually. I find him entertaining. He always kind of has something to say. He makes the fight week interesting. He calls people out. He kind of calls his shot, like saying who he wants next, like he did with Canelo years ago. You know, he's always got a call out ready. He's always got... At least he doesn't do interviews like a just full-on NPC and not have anything interesting to say. So I don't mind Kamaru. But Buckley... It's got like the style that is designed to beat Buckley. Sorry, they're both black. I didn't mean it like the style to beat Usman. He's just got such an anti-wrestling style. Like, he's really good at stopping takedowns. And when he even goes for his own takedowns, he tends to not keep them for long, because he'll rather would overwhelm you and land shots while you're trying to get up. He'll land them little shovel uppercuts. And I really like to see that. And then he'll also sometimes throw like some kind of like weird feint with his leg, and then he'll land a hook with that. Like, he'll throw like a weird like kind of half question mark kick, but he didn't ever intend him to actually land it, and then he'll throw a follow-up shot with his hook. And he hit like Wonderboy with that in their fight, and then he realised he wasn't getting anywhere apart from the odd bit of success, and he switched it up with the wrestling and was throwing the shovel uppercuts as Wonderboy was trying to get his back to his feet. And I can see Buckley just really catching Usman out with one of these transitions, whether it's the feints on the feet or whether it's like the takedowns and then letting him up and then like just absolutely mauling him with shots before he can even think. You know, I can just see him really overwhelming Usman here. And if he does that in this fight, I think Usman's age is going to show. I can really see Buckley getting a really, really vicious, brutal, like, just raining of shots finish, like where he's just paggering Usman and really... I don't even think it'll be a ground and pound situation. I think it's going to be a situation where he gets Usman down, starts landing those shovel uppercuts, Drinker's du Plessis, Darren Till style, that fight when that first round Till was getting mauled. But I can see Buckley just being more vicious and even more explosive, and I can see with the new rule change and waiting for Usman to try and make his way to his feet, and I could even see like a knee as Usman takes his hand off the mat for a second and then getting caught, a bit like Paddy Pimblett against Jordan Levitt, that kind of thing. And I can see him just getting absolutely mauled with shots while he's going down, and then just getting absolutely paggered and finished in the second. That's my prediction. Why I held up 3 fingers there. I'll go with the third. That might have been a sign. Third round, Buckley by absolute mauling and overwhelming Usman with shots after a knee to the dome. Thanks for watching, guys. Haunting May 13, and